Breaking news today. Italy's most dangerous volcano is not just erupting. It is dying and taking everything around it down with it. Tonight, scientists at the Istituto Nazionale di Geofisica e Volcanologia have sounded an alarm that is unlike anything ever issued for Etna. The eastern flank of this mountain, millions of tons of rock, ash, and molten fury, is silently, unstoppably sliding into the Mediterranean Sea. GPS stations are screaming numbers that defy every model, every simulation, every worst-case scenario ever written. The word scientists are now using behind closed doors is irreversible. Not slowing, not pausing. Irreversible. A catastrophic breakoff could trigger tsunamis, capable of erasing coastlines across 6 nations. 1 million people in its shadow have no idea what is coming. And the most terrifying part? Neither do the scientists trying to stop it. March 2nd, 2026, 4:17 in the morning, local time. Seismographs at the INGV monitoring station on Etna's southern flank registered a swarm of 47 micro-earthquakes in less than 90 minutes. The epicenters were not random. They aligned in a precise diagonal corridor, running from the summit crater zone, down through the Valle del Bove, and terminating at the base of the eastern flank, exactly where the mountain meets the sea. By 6:30 in the morning, GPS stations across the eastern sector transmitted displacement readings that stopped monitoring teams cold. The flank moved 2.4 centimeters in a single overnight period. The annual average movement recorded across the previous decade was 1.8 centimeters per year. Etna's eastern flank just moved more in one night than it typically moves in 12 months. Dr. Salvatore Brancato, lead geophysicist at the INGV Catania Observatory, convenes an emergency briefing at 7:45 in the morning. His statement is precise and terrifying. The acceleration we are observing is not consistent with normal flank dynamics. Something beneath this mountain has shifted, and we do not yet know if it can shift back. By 9 in the morning, Italian civil protection raises Etna's alert status. Within hours, volcanologists from the United States Geological Survey, the University of Bristol, and the GFZ German Research Center for Geosciences request access to the raw data. What they see sends the conversation to a level nobody wanted to reach. The word collapse enters the briefing room. To understand why scientists are in genuine panic, you need to understand what Etna actually is. Most people picture a cone volcano, a mountain that erupts from the top. Etna is that, but it is also something far more dangerous. It is an unstable mass of volcanic rocks sitting on a foundation that is actively failing beneath it. The eastern flank rests on a layer of weak, water-saturated sedimentary clay. For thousands of years, the enormous weight of Etna's volcanic edifice, estimated at over 300 cubic kilometers of rock, has been pressing down on this clay layer. The clay deforms, and the flank creeps seaward. This process is called gravitational spreading, and it has been happening slowly for millennia. Slow is the critical word. What monitoring data now shows is that slow is no longer the correct description. The Valle del Bove is the most visible evidence of what the flank is doing. This enormous, horseshoe-shaped depression on the volcano's eastern face measures 7 kilometers wide and 5 kilometers deep. It was created by a catastrophic flank collapse roughly 5,000 years ago. The scar is still clearly visible from satellite imagery. It sits directly above the most unstable section of the current eastern flank. The Timpe fault system along the lower eastern flank has recorded cumulative displacement of over 22 centimeters in the last 14 months alone. Submarine surveys conducted in January 2026 detected fresh fault scarps on the seafloor, directly east of Etna. The movement already extends below the waterline, out onto the seafloor. The mechanism that could turn gradual movement into catastrophic collapse is magma pressure. When Etna erupts, magma forces its way into the volcanic edifice from below. That pressure acts like a wedge driven into an already unstable structure. Each eruption cycle adds stress to a flank that is creeping toward its breaking point. The question scientists are now asking out loud is brutally simple. How many more wedges can this mountain absorb before the eastern flank stops creeping and starts collapsing? Etna's flank instability is not new. The warning signs stretch back decades. What is new is the acceleration. In 1980, a major seismic crisis beneath the eastern flank produced ground deformation measurements that alarmed Italian geologists. The event was studied, classified as a temporary pressure release, and filed away. In 2002, a major flank eruption triggered measurable seaward movement across the entire eastern sector. GPS instruments recorded displacement rates 3 times higher than baseline averages. When the event ended, movement rates returned to normal. Scientists filed the data. In 2018, a magnitude 4.9 earthquake struck directly beneath Etna's southeastern flank on December 26th. Post-earthquake GPS surveys revealed that the event had permanently reset the displacement baseline. The flank did not return to its pre-earthquake position. The new baseline was higher than anything recorded before 2018. Since that moment, movement rates have not stabilized. They have climbed steadily upward. Scientists studying the historical record of Kilauea's south flank and the Cumbre Vieja on La Palma recognize the signature. The data from March 2026 fits it almost perfectly. Here is what the geology means in human terms. 1.1 million people live in Catania and its surrounding municipalities, directly in the path of any eastern flank collapse. The city of Catania sits 12 kilometers from Etna's base. The port of Catania, one of Sicily's most critical economic arteries, sits at sea level. Messina, home to 230,000 people, lies 40 kilometers to the north. Coastal communities stretching the full length of eastern Sicily have been built on the assumption that Etna's slopes are permanent. That assumption is now under direct scientific challenge. A full eastern flank collapse would not simply bury coastal communities under debris. It would generate a tsunami. The volume of rock involved in a major Etna eastern flank detachment is estimated at between 15 and 80 cubic kilometers. The 1988 landslide at Papua New Guinea involved less than 0.1 cubic kilometers of material and generated waves exceeding 15 meters. The Etna collapse scenarios involve volumes between 150 and 800 times larger. Computer models run by the GFZ Potsdam team project wave heights of between 10 and 30 meters, striking the eastern Sicilian coastline within 3 to 5 minutes of a major collapse. 3 to 5 minutes. There is no evacuation protocol on Earth that functions in 3 to 5 minutes. The tsunami does not stop at Sicily. Wave propagation models show surge events reaching Malta within 12 minutes, Libyan coastal cities within 45 minutes, the Greek islands within 90 minutes, and Tunisia within 1 hour. An estimated 12 million people live in the direct wave path corridors identified in worst-case modeling scenarios. Emergency planners in Rome, Valletta, Tripoli, and Athens are all working from frameworks designed around seismic events, not volcanic flank collapses. the warning systems do not cover this scenario. The monitoring stations on Etna's flanks will not stop transmitting data. Scientists will not stop watching the numbers. But watching numbers has a fundamental limitation when the process those numbers describe has potentially passed the point of reversibility. Dr. Brancato's assessment from the morning briefing of March 2nd, 2026, carries a weight that emergency planners across 6 nations are now processing. He stated carefully that they are not predicting imminent collapse. He said that the conditions required for collapse are present, that they are intensifying, and that our current understanding of the timeline is insufficient to provide the certainty that decision makers require. That last phrase is the one that matters. Insufficient certainty. In disaster management, insufficient certainty is not the same as safety. It is the condition that precedes every catastrophe that was never fully prepared for. The eastern flank of Etna is moving. It has moved farther and faster in the last 14 months than in any equivalent period in the instrumental record. The fault systems governing that movement are active and deepening. The magma system that adds pressure to the edifice with every eruption cycle shows no signs of quieting. The mountain that has defined Sicily's skyline for millennia, that has shaped the civilization and the coastline of the entire central Mediterranean, is showing the world something that no monitoring network and no evacuation plan was designed